I wonder about doing one more and doing it just back to a slightly slower tempo.
Rolling.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
There is this voice I know inside my heart. I have my fears to lay to rest. Between the two, I swear I'm gonna tear apart. It's all a mystery at best. Chances in a million I could never guess. I've been waiting for the longest time. I've been calling from the moon. I've been drifting in and out of all these days, but I'm coming soon. I've been waiting for the longest time. I've been calling from the moon. I've been drifting in and out of all these days, but I'm coming soon. Never before have I once had a dream that I could ever make come true. But now it feels as if just might find my way, just as if it's all because of you. Following the daylight out of dark and blue. I've been waiting for the longest time. I've been calling from the moon. I've been drifting in and out of all these days, but I'm coming soon.
That's a second one.
Yeah.
That's a better ending for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting about The Longest Time is that it itself is a transition song. because I had been with a band called Gypsy Angel, and we were mostly a cover band, and we were doing James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt and stuff like that in little coffee bars in Mountain View and things like that, and we sucked. We were terrible. But we were going to record some of my songs, and my lead guitar player had acquired his recording gear through insurance fraud. And I found that out, and I was not willing to go with it, and there was a big fight, and I left the band. But I also wasn't happy with the songs that I was writing and that I was doing at that time, and I wasn't happy doing covers and all that stuff. I just felt like I was a jukebox for people that were drinking their lattes and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, go back to your roots, to some of the chords and the feels that you were using then that you really loved and celebrated and just kind of gave you energy in life. Instead, I was trying to be a little over the top esoteric and stuff like that. And so I wrote The Longest Time, and it was a real transition for me. There are these secrets that I just can't say. They make no sense beyond my dreams. And by the time you get to the end, never before have I once had a dream that I could ever make come true. And now it feels like I just might find my way. And I had just started all over again from scratch. I wasn't anywhere yet with this music. And I wrote that. So it was almost prophetic that this is going to get good. You did that an extra time for the ending of the song. That works. I like it. Keep it. Very good.
And I think there's another spot that works. I think where you said, do this. Right? Yeah. That's exactly where.
I didn't know that this is how it would be, but I had a sense that this is how it would be in terms of the tightness and the groove and warmth of the. That's the word that keeps coming up for me, is the warmth. And the warmth comes from both the music and their camaraderie with each other. And so I felt like I was, they weren't hired guys. They were letting me into their family. And I got that impression from the first time we had beers with Drew. And we were sitting around talking about it. And he was just so even and so relaxed. And, and he talked about, laying out a sheet that said what you want on each song and all that stuff. And then we talked about what instruments they brought to the equation and to the mix. And it all sounded really good. And I'm going, well, if Tom knows them, they must know their shit, because your thing has always been these amazing musicians out of New Orleans that can just walk on stage. Never played with any of these guys before. And he says, it's in G, and away they go. And so I just had a feeling that that's who they were. So I didn't know that. And there was some trepidation, but there was a connection with these guys, just from one-on-one with Drew. And so from there, it was like it just sort of blossomed and grew. And I'll admit I was a little nervous, going into the first meeting with everybody, and also being the guy who, plays in different tunings and, what key is that again? And all that kind of stuff, and whether or not And it sounds weird because, again, you sometimes assume that if you hire somebody, they're going to do what you want. But I didn't really want it to be that way. I wanted it to be that they would, I wanted to make sure there was room for me in there to say what I wanted out of this without necessarily stepping on their toes either. And that was immediately clear that when Drew would make a suggestion that was an okay idea, or Craig did, or whatever, but I wasn't crazy about it, and I actually preferred the way I was doing it before, that they were okay with that. Or we'd say, let's try both. And when we were done, it was like, yeah, let's do it that way. And that could be either way. And it was just very comfortable. So there was that. Okay, plus the guys are just really sweet men. I mean, they're just good guys, and that's such a relief to work with, because that's not always the case. And the nice thing, too, is that Scott, who is my lead guitar player here on the peninsula, and my friend, felt that same warmth, and he was welcomed into the group as well. So when we brought him along, that was great. So now it was 6 of us that were really, cueing off of each other and learning each other's ways and methods and, changes and all that kind of stuff.
My child is the moon. My race is almost run. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings to my immortal home. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings to my immortal home. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, so now you should be able to hear me on the headphones. Hello, hello. Yeah, wonderful. All right, let's just do quarters on the kick drum to start off with.
Boulevard, anytime we even rehearse that song, it just rolls. It just rolls. And I guess I'm comfortable enough with my own masculinity that I can say that, I felt like I was channeling Joni at the last waltz doing Coyote, because it just had that, she always has these interesting little grooves, and they're not quite jazz, they're not quite samba, they're not, but they're Joni grooves almost, And I just felt like I was in that groove with the congas and I've always, when I was younger, I always wanted to make music like that with a full-on band, and I've never really had that opportunity to do that. And I didn't write like that anyway, so it kind of never got fulfilled. But now I feel like I'm writing better stuff or more interesting things, and it came across really well. I could feel it. I was feeling it. Just imagine all I've passed along the way. Streetlight fascination makes me wide awake while I'm walking off the pain. Stand still, time it only crawls on by. Walking It was like seeing old friends when we got together again to rehearse for the show. And then it was like, yeah, right, you know, hugs all around and, you know, beers and sandwiches and let's get to it and we go for it. And it was just like, well, that was good. That was one, do it again. But that one time was really good, you know. And then we get to the show. It was funny because I talked to Andrew before we started, and we were still setting up for sound check and all that stuff. And he says, how you doing? I go, great. I said, how are you? And he goes, a little. I said, do you get nervous? And he goes, yeah, I do sometimes. And it was funny because this came around full circle because it was my bass player and my best friend years ago who has since passed, Mark Sparacino, God rest his soul. We were getting ready to go on at the Flint Center at De Anza College. And I had wet armpits that showed. We hadn't even gone on yet. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Michael, just remember they want you to do well. They're not out there waiting for you to screw up. And I said that to Andrew and he goes, really? He goes, oh, I like that. He goes, I like that. I'm going to stay with that.
Ready to roll?
Yeah, y'all ready? I'm rolling.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I love these songs. I had a lot of confidence in the songs and an incredible amount of confidence in the band. And not just them, that they were performing, and so I was just up there playing my little guitar along with them. I had incredible confidence that we were tight and that we were together and that this is going to sound really good. And it did.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.